In this video, we'll discuss preventing burnout, how to overcome your anxiety without getting tied down by the idea of perfection. Setting real expectations. So, you've understood the origins of your anxiety and you're working on your goals. You're also in the process of working on any obsessions and stuck points you might have to come across in the way. The ideal scenario is that you enjoy your progress and learn from any lessons and setbacks. You take everything in stride and don't get too influenced by it. But sometimes, this can be easier said than done, especially for a person dealing with anxiety. Sometimes, their anxiety-driven expectations can get in the way. This chapter will show you how to focus on the bigger picture. It will show you how to move past any unhelpful standards of perfectionism and be your only competitor because you don't need to compete with anyone but yourself. Being a little better than yesterday, every day, will get you where you want to be without the stress. Worksheet 21, Expectation Tracker. Take the below quiz choosing between often, sometimes, and never. 1. How often are you bothered by fears of not measuring up? 2. How often are you bothered by what others will think? 3. How often do you compare yourself with others? 4. How often do you become frustrated with the pace of your success? Choose the most applicable answer for the below questions. 5. What's your reaction when your friends or colleagues perform better than you? You don't panic. Take it as a healthy competition and work harder. You start comparing and get anxious with the notion of not being good enough. You feel miserable and like a failure. You're also anxious for long. On what basis do you set or measure goals and success? On personal beliefs and interests? On borrowed, societal, or others' definitions? 7. Do you jump from one unfinished project to another unfinished project when you are anxious or in self-doubt? Yes, I cannot concentrate and so try different things. Sometimes. No, I try and work on one thing at a time. Yes, I have plenty of unfinished projects. Reflect on the answers. They can tell you if your idea of achievement is yours to chase, if it is causing your anxiety, and if you need to alter the course of what you believe is your destination. Perfectionism and borrowed expectations. Setting expectations while chasing goals is a great way to ensure you complete everything that you've set forth for yourself. But if those expectations aren't stemming from your needs and are, on the contrary, based on what others believe is right, then you're more likely to be living someone else's life. The dreams aren't yours and the pursuit, although committed by you, may feel disconnected in some way. Finally, the success, if you manage the conviction to get there, won't be rewarding enough. Leaving no room to pause. Falter too. As a result, you may end up feeling that you haven't done enough, aren't good enough. You're likely to work harder, chase farther, with no room to pause. Falter too. You'll always want to feel more because everything that you feel in your pursuit of living others' dreams may not mean as much to you. Unrealistic and borrowed expectations is considered a risk factor for developing anxiety problems. Not every anxious person lives on perfectionism and borrowed dreams, but if you do, then this chapter is for you. Avoiding comparisons. A common obstacle while making personal and transformative changes is social comparison. You cannot compare yourself to others when it comes to creating an agenda that works for you. Well, you can, but it won't be helpful. A schedule that feels convenient and right for someone else might not be right for you. Worksheet 22, Becoming the change you want to see. Take time to reflect on your ideals, things that you connect with and things that you want to invite into your life. How close is it from your current reality? If it is in alignment, then you can skip this step. But if what you envisioned is a stark contrast to what you're living, then it's time to change the trajectory of your pursuit. It's time to align it to things that resonate with you. Because when you walk this new path that you're about to create, you'll discover your purpose. And what better way than to live your life with purpose? Change everything if you have to, but change them one thing at a time. Changes in how you feel are going to come from making a mixture of external changes, such as changes in how you spend your time, and internal changes, such as what you think and believe. Reflect on your narrative. What part of it do you need to change? What do you need to do to act out the change? Make a list of steps to get there. Start working on them, one step at a time. Fear of feedback. At large, feedback endorses progress. Used constructively, it can help people improve. However, that might not necessarily be the case all the time or for all people, especially anxious people. Anxious people mostly avoid it because of the additional layer of expectation and criticism it can put on them. Most anxious people already feel stifled by all their compulsions, obsessions, expectations, perfectionism. Another layer might not help. Here's how you can manage feedback and use it constructively. Worksheet 23, Overcoming Feedback Fears. Think of a situation in your life that you know will benefit from feedback, but you're avoiding it. Ask yourself, why am I avoiding this feedback when I know it might be helpful? How likely does it feel that I'm going to get very negative feedback? How close is it to the truth? Okay, you now know that already. Now ask yourself, how will I benefit from this feedback? What's the worst that can happen? Does it measure up to the possible benefits? Do I need assistance to cope with any resulting emotions? For instance, you might want to talk to a friend. Finally, if the feedback is going to be beneficial, prepare to receive it. Think of one specific instance in the past when feedback, negative feedback because that's what you mostly fear, was very helpful to you. Factor any chances of bias or hostile feedback. Recognize their signs and know when to not take them seriously. Invite the experience knowing that you've got yourself covered, whatever may be the outcome. Reward yourself. You've made great progress. After you've worked on a task you've been avoiding, allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor by taking time to appreciate yourself, doing something you like to do. Choose rewards that can help you progress from where you are. Rewarding yourself with a supersized portion of fries while on a weight loss journey won't help. Instead, pick up something that you always wanted to wear, only in one size lesser. Not only will this motivate you to reach the next milestone, but you'll also know that you have a nice little reward waiting for you when you get there. In this video, we'll talk about You've Got This, how to banish worry and live panic-free. You've done a great job moving into the final chapter. We are very happy for you. We've covered many different topics throughout this, from topics that help you understand your anxiety to ones that help overcome it and move to a place of acceptance and peace. Each chapter is filled with purposeful worksheets that are specially designed to take you through the process one step at a time, at a pace that is convenient for you. This chapter is slightly different. The tools in this chapter rally on all that we've already discussed, but more practically and directly. This time, it is intending to gift you a quick lift of sorts when you're feeling low and anxious. There isn't any explanation, because that's what the rest of the video is about. But there are some quick fixes and effective tips that can get you up and about when you're not quite your usual happy self. Simplify. If you've been practicing the worksheets presented in this video, you might have a better idea of how your anxiety plays out. You might also know the handful of issues that trouble you, the ones that still creep up on you when you least expect them to. Here are some quick but effective tips to keep them down and out of your way for longer periods. Anti-anxiety formulas. Breathe. When you're anxious, your mind can get caught up battling the thoughts ringing its head. You can become so consumed by the process of balancing your emotions that you fail to recognize the physical effects of it. There are some telltale signs which, when addressed, can instantly help bring down your anxiety. Your breathing is at the top of that list. Typically, when anxious, your breathing quickens and becomes shallow. This goes against the natural pattern of breathing, which is slow and deep. And because our lives depend on our breath, any deviance in this pattern can add to your stress and make you more uncomfortable. You can quickly counter this by focusing on your breath. 1. Place one hand on your abdomen and the other on your chest. 2. Breathe in slowly, focusing on expanding your abdomen first and then your chest. 3. Exhale slowly, telling yourself to relax when you breathe out. 4. Repeat steps 1 through 3 for at least 10 breaths. Exercise. Your body is not meant to be stressed. It's meant to be happy, healthy, and at peace. And so, when you get upset, your body is alarmed and responds by producing stress hormones. Exercise has proved to be very effective in burning these hormones. Exercises such as running, jogging, brisk walking, and/or aerobics for as little as 15 to 20 minutes at a time when you're stressed can do wonders to alleviate symptoms of anxiety. Choose any physical activity that you enjoy doing. The fact that you also like what you're doing will help shift you to a happier and stress-free phase. Express yourself, talk it out, or journal your thoughts. We are social creatures. We want to mingle and thrive as a collective society. And so, by this nature, it is natural for you to feel better when you connect with or talk to someone you understand and who understands you. Rally your support system. Call a loved one and talk about what's troubling you. Even if you're somebody who doesn't like to mingle a lot, you might find it helpful to just let things out of your system. If you don't have anyone you can immediately call and talk to, try and journal your thoughts. Do not hesitate to talk to yourself either. Try and understand exactly what's bothering you, and the best way to do that is to ask yourself questions. What's bothering me? Does my narrative sound correct? Is there another way of looking at what happened? How can I shift to a better place? Always ask yourself questions, because when you do, you may get vital information that can then stimulate your thinking further, perhaps from an all-new, reasonable, and refreshing angle. Listen to music. Sound stimulates the mind and body. It can inspire you or upset you. When you're upset, try and listen to music that soothes your mind. Listen to whatever makes you happy. Spend time with pets. Studies prove that spending time with pets promotes better moods and health. Spend time with your pets, play with them too. You'll quickly realize your anxiety disappearing away. Give your mind something more productive to chew on. Often, when you're stressed, your mind refuses to think outside of the situation. It focuses on the discomfort and replays the events that led to it several times over. If the worry is serious and needs assistance, then we urge you to consult a therapist. But if it's more minor in intensity and caution, then we recommend distracting it with some of your favorite activities. Try reading a good novel, watching a movie, playing a sport, spending time with family, walking your pet, and anything else that makes you happy. Stay in the present. Remember that most of what has upset you has happened in the past. The moment has passed, and a lot of what you may worry about may be in the future. They happen yet and might never happen too. Instead of toggling between the past and future, stay in the present. Notice your breath because that's living in the present. Focus on your breath as mentioned before and bring yourself back to the present. Your anxiety, your journey. As you progress further, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the origins of your anxiety. You'll also discover ways to manage and overcome them. At this point, we urge you to take a moment to pause and reflect on everything you learned about yourself so far. It can get overwhelming, and we want you to know that that's completely expected and normal. You decide, ready or not. You've made great progress, and we are very happy that we can be a part of it. At the same time, we want you to also know that this journey is yours to take. Reflect and conclude on what's right for you and what's not. Don't rush into things. Instead, take time to regroup and recalibrate. If you wish, take time off to think about your journey till now. Practice everything that you've learned so far. You decide when and how you want to move things ahead. This video is filled with plenty of practical tools to help address your anxiety. Take time to truly work on it because when you do, you'll be rewarded with lifelong benefits. Finally, reflect on everything that's been shared with you through this video and figure out what works for you. Worksheet 24, Gathering Your Tools. Take a few moments to reflect on how the various systems in this chapter have worked for you. Make a note of the techniques that worked for you. Feel free to improvise and make them yours.